www.offthecorner.net. I'm Rollo, and you're watching the Fact Project here on the DJ Tiger channel. Salute to DJ Tiger. FACT is an acronym that stands for Fundamental African-Centered Thought. The goal here on the Fact Project is to convey some facts and some information to members of our community. If you watch the Fact Project for any number of weeks, you will know that we have joined in the campaign against Netflix for their ridiculous portrayal of Black people in the animated reboot of Good Times. The boycott against Netflix is still ongoing. If you wish to participate in the boycott, you can do so by canceling your Netflix, and a lot of people have already done that. In addition to canceling your Netflix, to send a message to Netflix, everyone's being urged to sign a petition on change.org. And a lot of people have done that as well. The third request is that you go to offthecorner.net and copy paste the open letter written to Netflix by Dr. James McIntosh. You can copy paste that and put that in an email, or you can copy paste that and put that in the snail mail and get that over to the people at Netflix to continue to express our discontent with the animated reboot of Good Times, which we're requesting that they remove and pull down from their website. In addition to that, along the lines of activism, because we don't just have good conversations on here with great guests, we want to encourage everyone to also get involved in some activism. Brother Ajay Taimba of Harlem Liberation School started a GoFundMe to raise money for Elder Brother Dhoruba bin Wahad, who was a New York Panther, as well as a political prisoner, and he continues to be a long-distance revolutionary for our people. Brother Dhoruba bin Wahad is facing some health challenges, so Brother Ajay was thoughtful enough to start a GoFundMe for Brother Dhoruba bin Wahad. The link for that is in the chat. So they've reached their goal, but people are still continuing to donate. So we want to encourage people to continue to donate to the GoFundMe for a good brother, Dhoruba bin Wahad. In addition to that, you can check out Ajay Taimba on Harlem Liberation School on YouTube. That channel is Harlem Liberation School. And you can check out Brother Ajay on his GoFundMe link. I'm sorry, on the Linktree link, which is something I just put in the chat. I want to give a shout out to Bot Ricks, who has joined us. Today, I would like to talk about the history of conscious rap, part 1. This is something that is going to be done in parts, only because I can't do it all at once, and I would like to bring in guests. And today I didn't get any guests, only because a few things fell through, but that's fine. Sometimes that's the way things work. Either way, I am going to get into the history of consciousness in rap music. Rap music has become, especially commercial rap, has become this negative thing that glorifies us harming, brutalizing, and killing other Black people, which is absolutely absurd. Commercial rap has become this thing that over-glorifies materialism and doesn't necessarily view women in a positive or agreeable light. And so what I'm going to attempt to do today is to show forth the fact that we were not always this way. Rap music was not always this negative, and Black people were not always this way. And so we have an epidemic now nationwide of intergroup violence among Black people. And I say intergroup violence because any group can have intergroup violence. So the Chinese can have, no one ever says Chinese on Chinese violence or East Indian on East Indian violence. These things occur every day, all day, but there's no expression for it. I refer to it as intergroup violence. I refuse to say Black on Black violence. Either way, the epidemic of intergroup violence, the national epidemic of intergroup violence, did not always exist. among us as a race. So, for example, from 1865 to 1965, there was no such thing as intergroup violence among Black people, not a nationwide epidemic. So the question becomes, what changed that now facilitates the intergroup violence that we see among us as a people? And I dare say what changed is the media that we consume. Now, the great Dr. James McIntosh of CMOTAP, which is the Committee to Eliminate Media Offensive to African People, he said that media impacts behavior. This is a doctor of psychiatry. He said media impacts behavior. He said corporations spend millions of dollars to do a 30-second ad during the Super Bowl. And they're doing that because they understand that media impacts behavior. So now I have to go all the way around the mountain to make the point. And this has everything to do with conscious rap music, I promise you. Television hit the market in the 1950s. Now, who was the first demographic of people that could get television because they could afford it? That was our white counterparts. Television originally was black and white. If you wanted to see a color picture, you had to go to the movie theater. So you got black and white at home. If you want to see color, you had to go to the movie theater. When color television hit the market, it was late 1960s going into 1970. Again, when something hits the market, it sits for a while before the price eventually comes down. Who was the first demographic of people to have color television in their home? That was our white counterparts. And so Black people would still go to the movies to see a color picture. They had black and white at home, and they would go to the movie theater still to see color picture. White movie attendance plummeted. So now Hollywood is losing money, and the movie houses are losing money. So what did Hollywood think to do? In their infinite wisdom, Hollywood said, okay, well, if Black people are the one demographic of people that are still going to the movies heavily, we're going to create movies for Black people. Now, originally, the cost of a movie was 25 cents. When they decided that they were going to start making movies that they're going to market towards a Black demographic, the cost of the movie went from 25 cents to $1.25. And then subsequent to that, you had what is commonly today referred to as the Black exploitation era. You had movies like Superfly. You have movies like Black Caesar, Hell Up in Harlem, Willie Dynamite, where people are now on camera. They're fighting over drug territory. They're engaged in all kinds of criminal activity, and it's being glorified. This is the first time we see intergroup violence among Black people on the screen, because in television, we didn't get this. In the movies now, we're starting to get violent movies and violent content being marketed towards us. At that point, subsequent to that, now you begin to see a spike in violence among society, among Black people in society. We're now becoming more violent towards each other. Again, remember, from 1865 to 1965 was a period of 100 years. We had no epidemic of intergroup violence. Now, early 1970s, mid 1970s, you start seeing these movies begin to flood the theaters. And then now we start to begin to become more violent towards one another. Now, what happens next? In 1979, along comes rap music. Now, you had 1979, the Fatback Band, which is like a kind of funk R&B band here out of the New York City area. They do a record featuring King Tim III called Personality Jock. This is March of 1979. Now, King Tim III and Fatback Band record by itself is not a bad record. This is 5 months before Sugar Hill Records puts out Rapper's Delight. Rapper's Delight was recorded in August of 1979, and it was released on September 16th, 1979. That's the one record that kind of escalated rap to another level, recorded rap on record. Now, before King Tim III, before Rapper's Delight by the Sugar Hill Gang, you had the expression rap is already being used. The Watts Prophets, who was a group of spoken word artists, they did an album in 1971 called Rappin' Black. They're already calling this rhythmic talking to music, they're already calling it rapping. They do an album called Rappin' Black. This is almost 2 years before August 11th, 1973, which is documented as the birth date of hip hop. So the term rap is already being used. So now late 79, you have King Tim III, with the Fatback Band featuring King Tim III, and you also have Rapper's Delight by the Sugar Hill Gang, which exploded and became the next biggest thing. Now, I'm going to skip over the early 80s. I'm going to fast forward a little bit to the mid 80s because the bulk of what I want to talk about is going to be early 80s. So I'm going to do that in a minute. So I want to fast forward to 1986. MC Shan and Melly Mel do a record called The Bridge. Now, The Bridge, and people are surprised to hear me say this until I explain it. The Bridge was the beginning of the downturn in rap music. Now, The Bridge by itself was not a bad record, but The Bridge was the beginning of a downturn in rap music going towards the negativity. Melly Mel, who was the DJ for the Mr. Magic Rap Attack, they did a mix show on the weekend here on commercial radio in New York City, and they played all the latest in non-commercial rap. There's no such thing as commercial rap at this point. Rap is just rap. Melly Mel just so happens to be a producer, and he has artists that he's producing and putting out on record that have records out. So what does he do? Obviously, he's a DJ. He's on the radio. He's going to play the records that he produced by the artists that he's working with. MC Shan was one of those artists. MC Shan does a record in 1980s. Now, remember, Melly Mel and MC Shan were the biggest, well, I can't say the biggest, but one of the biggest acts in rap music at the time because they were getting regular rotation on the radio, especially on the weekend. And so The Bridge by itself is not a bad record. It doesn't glorify violence in any way. He does say at some point that, you can't come to the bridge and start any fights. He said, if you do, you better run. That's the extent of what he talked about as it relates to violence, but it wasn't promoting violence. He even said in record, make this one jam that you do not start no fight. And so he's discouraging people from coming to hip hop functions, especially Queen's Bridge Day, which is what that record was made for. He's discouraging them from coming and starting problems or starting a fight. But he said, if you start a fight, you're in Queensbridge, you better run. That's the only reference he made to violence. Now, in response to that record, now The Bridge, first of all, is the beginning of what I call the I'm from a bad neighborhood era in rap, because it was The Bridge by MC Shan. Then, of course, Boogie Down Production and KRS-One came out with South Bronx. So you have The Bridge, you have South Bronx, you have NWA out of the West Coast saying that they're straight out of Compton. You had the Ghetto Boys out of Texas saying that they were from the 5th Ward. Everybody saying that they're from a bad neighborhood. That I'm from a bad neighborhood era in rap began with MC Shan, The Bridge. Now, The Bridge, again, like I said, by itself is not a bad record. KRS-One and Boogie Down Production come behind that now and claim that MC Shan was saying that hip-hop started in Queensbridge. Anybody listening to that record knows that's not what MC Shan was saying. He was just talking about hip-hop in Queensbridge housing projects. That's it. Now, there's a whole nother story behind that says that KRS-One wanted to be involved with the Juice Crew. They heard his music, they didn't like him, and they were disrespectful towards him. And so he does a diss record taking a swipe at one of the biggest acts in rap music at the time because he was angry that they didn't want to sign him or put him onto the Juice Crew, which is like a popular crew, a cadre of rappers at the time. Now, if anyone is in the chat, if you have any questions or you want to chime in on the conversation, put that in the chat, and I will definitely do my best to read it as we go live. Either way, KRS-One does South Bronx, claiming that MC Shan said that hip-hop began in Queensbridge. Now, that was the launch pad for the career of Boogie Down Production and KRS-One. Now, after that, so MC Shan does a record called Kill That Noise in response to KRS-One South Bronx, claiming that MC Shan said hip-hop started in Queensbridge. I say if MC Shan never responded to that, KRS-One might not even have a career in rap now. But MC Shan responded. And then KRS-One does The Bridge Is Over. And this is what really escalates KRS-One and kind of brushes MC Shan aside, and helps to boost the career of KRS-One. Now, KRS-One gets an album deal. And so shout out to Lawrence W. He says, South Bronx, kill that noise. Yes, that was the hook. That was the hook of the record. So brother Lawrence W. knows exactly what I'm talking about. Either way, KRS-One gets an opportunity to do a full-length album. He does a full-length album. His album is called Criminal Minded. That by itself is a problem. So now, again, you got the downturn in rap going towards negativity, going towards glorifying violence, going towards glorifying criminality. So KRS-One does a record called Criminal Mind. This is the first time in the history of recorded rap music you see anyone on an album cover holding guns. This is a thing that became popular subsequent to that. So if you see NWA, Straight Outta Compton, they're holding guns in the album cover. MC Ren has an interview on YouTube where he talks about how influential KRS-One was to NWA. They were very influenced by KRS-One and Boogie Down Production. Again, before Criminal Minded, no one's holding guns on a rap album. They not only had guns, they had bullet belts, they had grenades, they had all of this stuff. Now, Brother Kwabena of Clear the Airways Project, shout out to him. Brother Kwabena says that if you listen to Poetry, which was the first single off of Criminal Minded, this is supposed to be KRS-One showing his lyrical prowess and dexterity. The end of the record, he says, I'd rather point a pistol at your head and try to burst it. This is the beginning of us beginning to glorify intergroup violence in rap music. Before this, you didn't have that. A lot of people push back against me when I say that. And I don't know why. I guess I do know why, because Criminal Minded is considered a classic. And people have this emotional connection to certain things. And so when they talk about it, they're not talking about it or making their comment out of intellect. They're making that comment or remark out of emotion because they don't want to see Criminal Minded as a bad thing. Either way, rap music progressively gets more violent subsequent to that Criminal Minded album. This is the first album that features guns on the album cover. And this is one of the first times where we see violence among Black people being glorified in the music. Now, I don't have to get into what rap is doing now and give examples of the negativity in rap, because all you have to do is turn on commercial radio for 5 minutes and you'll hear Black men glorifying, harming, and brutalizing, and even killing other Black men. There's no other race of people on the planet that have music that glorifies killing other members of their race just because they're other members of their race. Completely illogical. Now, rap music was not always that way. In the very beginning, I mentioned you had King Tim III, 1979. This is March. You had Sugar Hill Gang did Rapper's Delight. Comes out September of 1979. Also that year, you had a group called Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five out of the Bronx. They had an opportunity to do a record on Enjoy Records, shout out to Bobby Robinson, called Super Rapping. Now, this is interesting because rap is just coming out on records. It's like months old. It's not even a full 12 months of what we now call rap on record. And in that beginning stage, in the first 12 months, of less than 12 months of rap music on record, you already have consciousness in rap music. If you listen to Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, and I'm going to pull it up now, they did a record called Super Rapping, which was on Enjoy Records in 1979. Just bear with me. I'm doing this on the fly. Shout out to DJ Tiger. I wish he was here now. You'd be able to help me out with this. All right, so here we go. Super Rapping. Okay, here we go. Okay, just bear with me. I'm doing this on the fly. Here we go. Now, this is the last verse of Super Rapping. This is Melly Mel, who probably wrote this verse at about 15 years old, which is incredible to me. This is very poetic. It's very profound. This is Melly Mel, the last verse of Super Rap. And this is Rap on Record. It's only been out a couple months. And already you're hearing black consciousness in the music. Listen to this.
You say 1, 2, 1 more is 3, and Melly Mel. Come on, now what you got for me? You don't stop that funny rock. You say it's out small, but don't state your mind. It's blind to the ways of mankind. God smiling on you, but it's frowning too, because only God knows what you'll go through. You'll go in the ghetto, in the second rate, and your eyes will sing a song to be hate. The place you play, where you stay, it looks like one great big alleyway. You'll admire all the dumb book takers, thugs, pimps, and pushers got the big money makers. Driving big cars, spending 20s and 10s, and you want to grow up to be just like them. Smugglers, scandalous, burglars, gamblers, pickpocket peddlers, even panhandlers. You say I'm cool, I'm no fool, but you'll wind up dropping out of high school. Now you're unemployed, all non-born, walking around like a pretty boy, turn stick up kid, and look what you done did. Got set up for an 8-year bid. Now your manhood took your big tag for the next 2 years. That's the other couple bags being used in abuse. Served like hell till one day you found hung getting sell. It was plain to see that your life was flawed. You was cold and your body swung back and forth. But now your eyes sing the sad song of how you live so fast and die so young. Say it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
All right. So many of you who are familiar with the message, Melly Mel used that same verse on the end of the message where he says, a child is born with no state of mind, blind to the ways of mankind, and so forth. Incredible, very profound, coming from Melly Mel. Now, this is Rap on Record is months old at this point. You're already getting socially relevant rap, or what some people refer to as political rap. Now, I think this is interesting. In 1980, Brother D, shout out to In Plain Sight. He says, peace to the chat. I say peace to the chat. Salute to everybody in the chat. Now, just stay with me. I'm going to see if I can. Here we go. Brother D. Brother D does a record, 1980 now. Rap is not even on record for a full 12 months. And we're already seeing black consciousness in the music and in the lyrics. Now, I'm not going to play the whole song, but I do want to play some of this Brother D. How are we going to make the black nation rise? Just to show that it wasn't about negativity. Now, this is Rap on Record. It's months old at this point. Listen to Brother D.
Face out, y'all, to the disco rhyme. You're moving to the rhythm, but you're wasting time. Stop and think. Do you know what's real? Well, let me educate you to the real deal. The media is telling lies. The devil taking off his disguise. They're killing us in the street while we pay more for food that's cheap. And all you want to do is so socialize. How you gonna make that nation rise? Remember the so-called Indian? Look what they did to him. Maybe they'll do that to us. They're the struggle, they're the win. I mean, damn, get out of your seat. Damn, get on your feet. We say damn, and I will repeat. We mean damn, we're tired of defeat. Damn, no more sitting around. We say damn, it's time for throwing down. Damn, let's even the score, cause we're fired up. It won't take no more. We're fired up. It won't take no more. We're fired up. Won't take no more.
All right, so that was Brother D. How are we going to make the black nation rise? Saying we're fired up, we can't take no more. This is Rap on Record, not even a full 12 months yet, and you're already getting socially relevant content. You're already getting political content. You're already getting what's later to become known as conscious rap. And so the beginning of rap music now, there's no promotion of violence among black people. There's no glorifying drinking or drug use or anything like that. Rap music in the beginning, you know, you had like your King Tim III and your Sugar Hill Gang and so forth. A lot of that was just kind of like braggadocio type of rap. Rapping about homes you didn't own, cars you couldn't afford, and clothes that you didn't have. You know, it's kind of party record, right? Shout out to In Plain Sight. It says, thank you for this history lesson. These songs are brand new to me. Okay, this is why I'm doing this, because a lot of people don't know this history. And so I'm trying to do my best to expose this to people so that we know the history, so that we don't just see rap as a negative, the way a lot of people who don't really know this history see rap music. Now, we in the early 80s still. The message, or not the message, Super rapping the last verse. Melly Mel is ultra conscious on that verse, and he's saying socially relevant lyrics and content. Then you had Brother D. How are we going to make the Black Nation rise? This is 1980. I would advise, and I'm going to put this playlist in the chat before I'm done. I would advise everybody to go back and listen to that record. Brother D, How are we going to make the Black Nation rise? It's 1980. He's talking about Marcus Garvey. They're talking about genocide, against us by the system. They're talking about us doing for ourselves and supporting Black business. This is 1980. That's amazing to me. Either way, 1982, Grandmaster Flash and Furious 5 changed the game when they put out The Message. Sylvia Robinson from Sugar Hill Records obviously heard Super rapping, and she liked that last verse where Melly Mel said, a child is born with no state of mind, blind to the ways of mankind, and so forth. She liked that so much that she said, hey, you got to say that same verse on this record here. Now, this is a classic. It speaks for itself, but this is 1982 when this record comes out. And Black consciousness, political awareness, social relevance, it's already in the music. I'm not going to play this whole thing. I don't feel I have to, because everybody should be familiar with this, but just let's listen to a little bit of this.
Broken glass everywhere. People on the stage, you know, they just don't care. I can't take the smell, can't take the noise. Got no money to move out, I guess I got no choice. Rats in the front room, roaches in the back, junkies in the alley with the baseball bat. I tried to get away, but I couldn't get far, cause a man with the tow truck repossessed my car. Don't push me, cause I'm close to the edge. I'm trying not to lose my head. It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going under. Standing on the front stoop, hanging out the window, watching all the cars go by, roaring as the breezes blow. A crazy lady living in a bag, eating out of garbage pails. Used to be a fag hag, such a dance to tango. Skipped the life and tango, a zircon princess seemed to lost her senses. Down at the peep show, watching all the creeps, so she can tell her stories to the girls back home. She went to the city and got so diddy. She had to get a pitch, she couldn't make it on her own. Don't push me, cause I'm close to the edge. I'm trying not to lose my head. It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going under. It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going under.
My brother's doing fast on my mother's TV. Says she watches too much, it's just not healthy. All my children in the daytime, Dallas at night. Can't even see the game or the Sugar Ray fight. The bill collectors, they ring my phone and scare my wife when I'm not home. Got a bum education, double-digit inflation. Can't take the train to the job, there's a strike at the station. Me on King Kong, standing on my back, can't stop to turn around. Broke my sacroiliac, a mid-range migraine, cancer membrane. Sometimes I think I'm going insane. I swear I might hijack a plane.
All right, I'm going to stop there because I could just continue on enjoying the record, but you get the point. This was the first huge hit in rap that featured that kind of gritty, honest social commentary about what was going on in Black communities among Black people. Now we got Samson in the chat. Shout out to Samson. He says Sylvia Robinson is his cousin. I knew that by way of marriage. Her husband was my cousin. So shout out to Samuel. I'm sorry. Shout out to Samson, who says that Sylvia Robinson is his cousin from Sugar Hill Records. Huge. Lawrence W says Broken Windows Theory. Yes, Lawrence W. Broken Windows Theory is I don't know if this is around the country. You might have to be from New York to know about this, but the police were trying to arrest people for very petty crimes at a time, and this was called Broken Windows Theory, that says if you arrest them enough, they're going to get scared straight and they're no longer going to be engaged in whatever they're engaged in. That's Broken Windows Theory. But we're going to come back to today's subject, which is the history of conscious rap, part 1. I got to definitely do a part 2. Shout out to Robert Grant, who has joined us in the chat. Shout out to all my moderators in the chat. It's Sam Sun, shout out to him. He said, this week made 29 years on October 16th, 1995, the Million Man March, a gathering of Black men meant to foster unity in the face of economic and social issues affecting African Americans, was held in D.C. That is correct. That is correct. Shout out to Sam Sun for keeping that history intact. Now, we're going to continue further. We just had the message. The message came out in July 1st, 1982. And this was the beginning of what people refer to as message rap. Because now, doing what Melly Mel just did, talking about socially relevant issues and kind of talking kind of that gritty, what's really going on in the ghetto type of narrative, now becomes a quick way to make a hit record in rap music. And so a lot of people now coming out making conscious rap records, but Black consciousness was still a major part of the culture outside of records. Now, Wild Style, which was a movie, and shout out to DJ Tiger because he's got new merch with the Wild Style logo on it, baseball caps, scullies, and so forth. Wild Style was the first hip hop movie to document hip hop culture. This is filmed in 1981, going into probably the early part of 82. This is Grandmaster Theodore and the Fantastic. Now, I think this is interesting because you hear them after they do their routine, they kind of do this call and response thing where they're telling the audience to say, you know, I'm Black and beautiful. I'm proud to be Black. Black power. This is part of the culture. Early 80s. It's not even 83 yet. It's 1982. This Grandmaster Theodore and the Fantastic at Live at the Dixie. And this is part of a movie called Wild Style. For those of you who have never seen that movie, you want to look that up. Wild Style documents hip hop culture and anything hip hop before Flashdance, which came just subsequent to that. But this is Grandmaster Theodore and the Fantastic, Live at the Dixie, from a movie called Wild Style. Listen closely to this. All right, so I didn't share my screen. Some technical issue on my part. Forgive me for that. But we will we're gonna do this right. Just stay with me. This is Fantastic Romantic, Live at the Dixie from 1982 from the classic film called Wild Style. Listen to this.
Hey y'all, with Bob and Peppers and you can't deny we got it together. So and when we shot the house, and when we rock the house, and when we shot the house, and when we rock the house, and when we shot the house, you wonder why we tried our best and that's so loud. Fantastic, fantastic, romantic. Bob MC shot in the house for all the young ladies. You don't stop. Keep on to the break start. Everybody, somebody, say ho. Say ho. Let's breathe. Everything that you Black and you proud. Say Black. Say power. Say Black is beautiful. Black, beautiful. Say Black is sweet. And I'm proud to be Black, y'all. To be Black, y'all. And that's the boogie rock.
Okay, we're gonna stop right there. I could have stopped it before that, but I'm enjoying the music. Either way, you hear Fantastic Romantic 5. They're telling the audience to say Black power, and you hear this reverberation of Black power. Then they say Black is beautiful, and then you hear the audience say Black is beautiful. Say I'm proud to be Black, and the audience reverberates, I'm proud to be Black. Again, nothing is glorifying violence, drug abuse, or anything like that. There's no violence in the music at this point. This is 1982. 1982, rap on record is a new idea. Many people still think that rap on record is going to just be a fad that plays out. This is 82, and it's still going strong. But the root, the foundation of the culture is racial pride. That shot right there is a perfect example of it. Music is now beginning to come out that says, hey, you know what? We're over here living in a pretty bad situation. Melly Mel, Furious 5 are out of the Bronx. The Bronx was considered the worst congressional district in the country. Not by me, by textbooks, by the experts. The Bronx was considered the worst place. They're now making records saying, hey, there's something wrong with this equation. Why? How come where we live is the worst? How come we're at the bottom? How come we are stuck in reverse, living in the ghetto and can't get out? So really what they're talking about is systemic racism. They may not have realized what it was, but that's exactly what they were talking about. Now, after the message comes out in 1982, music industry is jumping on this now. And rappers are realizing that if you want to make a hit record in rap, you have to do what they call a message rap. And Samson in the chat says Scooby-Doo, for sure. Scooby-Doo. You have to see that movie to understand that joke. Anyway, now you're getting rap records that are coming out subsequent to the message, where rappers are very adamant about putting socially relevant content in their lyrics. This is another example of a record like that. This is the Treacherous 3. This is Yes We Can. This is 1983. We haven't even gotten past 83 yet. Rap on Record is not even a full 4 years old yet. And these are some of the topics and the messages that we were talking about in the music at the time. This is Treacherous 3. Listen to this.
Now's the time for us to come together. And if we work hard enough, then we can do it, whether you like it or not. Just give it all that you got. And if we work together, I'm sure we'll accomplish a lot. We gotta make this land a better land. The only way we can is each and every man. Lends a hand because we can. Yes, we can. Or why can't we if we want it? Yes, we can. Stop and think a second. Put the grievances aside. And if it's hard to do that, then just swallow your pride. Because now is the time for everybody to unite. All the blacks, Puerto Ricans, Chinese, Indian, white. We gotta make this world a better world for the upcoming kids, the boys and girls. Because we can, I know we can. Yes, we can. Or why can't we if we want it? Yes, we can. Now these are sessions and depressions that we're all going through. It's nothing strange, it's time to change it, and it ain't nothing new. The presidency has a lot to do with our country's wealth. It's nothing new, it's history's way of repeating itself. Now there is one conclusion I can do without a doubt. That's if you're looking for a shortcut, there's no easy way out. And if you think the streets are way out, just use your head. You see, your quarters are in jail and have the rest of the day. Because surviving on the streets, there ain't too many who can. And the only one who can is a real lucky man. There ain't too many of us looking from the start, you see. Because there's heavy odds against all minorities. Although there's heavy odds against us, I still have to say that we're not out, because wherever there is a will, there's a way. But if the strong will survive, and the weak will die. And the only ones who make it are the ones who try. Because we can, I know we can. Yes, we can. Or why can't we if we want it? Yes, we can. Yes, we can. I know we can. Yes, we can. Or why can't we if we want it? Yes, we can. I know we can. Yes, we can. Or why can't we if we want it? Yes, we can. Yes, we can. I know we can. Yes, we can. Or why can't we if we want it? Yes, we can.
All right, I think we get the point there. That is a take from the Pointer Sisters, who did a record of similar title, Yes We Can. I think it's interesting that if you listen to this record, and I would advise everyone to go back and listen to the whole song, the whole record of all of these records that I'm playing. They said we got to make this world a better world for all the upcoming kids, the boys and girls. This was basic common rap for us at the time. This is just what we did. And this is what we sang. This is what we talked about those records, and we enjoyed those records. I think this is key, especially now that we're in an election year and we're in an election cycle, and all this talk of electionism is going on. The record says the presidency has a lot to do with our country's wealth. It's nothing new. It's history's way of repeating itself. This was our rap in 1983. What year was this? 1983. This is sort of topics that we were thinking about and talking about and playing music, and the artists were on it. Now, there were a lot of other lesser known rap records that were put out around the same period of time. Of course, everything is not going to be a huge hit, but again, we listen to mix shows on the weekend. And so we were hearing a lot of what would be considered underground rap records at the time. And this right here is a perfect example of one. This is Dynamite II. The song is called Can't Stop Until We Reach the Top. Dynamite 2 is from 1983, somewhere thereabout. And I want to play this because I want you to see the social relevance and the political awareness of rap music at the time. And these are people from the worst urban areas you can imagine, places you wouldn't want to go through if you had to. They're making records talking about their situation and giving that social and political commentary. So Dynamite 2, listen to this.
Can't stop until I reach the top. I can't stop. Can't stop until I reach the top. I can't stop. I can't stop working, got to make ends meet. But with the noise on the street, how the hell can people sleep? Young ladies getting raped shouldn't hang out late, because in this land, people think of hate, robbing one another, killing up each other. It's a shame you got to watch your own damn brother. Life ain't easy, those streets are rough. Kids living fast lives, growing up to be tough. I can't stop until I reach the top. I can't stop. Can't stop until I reach the top. I can't stop.
Fathers and mothers on the corners I look. I work for every dollar, I don't want to be a crook. The younger generation don't feel the same. They snatch your pocketbook, jump out on the train. The way people look, the way they act, you know as well as me, you got to watch your back. Life play tricks, life is a gamble. Life is something you got to handle.
Can't stop until I reach the top. I can't stop. Can't stop until I reach the top. I can't stop. I can't stop moving, got to give it all I got. No matter how hard, I just can't stop. Can't stop. Can't stop until I reach the top. My money's getting low, everything's moving slow. Sometimes I don't even know which way to go. I can't stop now, gotta keep pressing on. Cause when you're living in a ghetto, you got to be strong. You ladies getting better, dropping out of high school. Smoking reefer on the corner, nothing better to do. Coming in the house any time of the night. Their parents don't care because they're not right. I can't stop until I reach the top. I can't stop.
Okay, we get it. That's the Dynamite 2, Can't Stop Until I Reach the Top. This is coming from 1983. And they're talking about this, beginning now to talk about violence, but now they're talking about it in a bad way. Hey, this is you. We got to stop the violence in the street against each other. We got to continue to struggle until we make it out the ghetto. These are sort of things that we are rapping about. This is what rap music was about. It was not about what we see now, where they glorifying materialism, glorifying drug use, glorifying disrespect towards women. And I think it's interesting, Mos Def, who is now Yasin Bey, he said hip hop went from selling crack to smoking it. And I think it's interesting how rappers early on, not early on, but mid 80s, from that Criminal Minded era, you see rappers now starting to talk about selling drugs, because crack was big. And I could do a whole show on just crack, anti-crack era rap records. I'm not doing that today. I'm just scraping the surface. Either way, if you listen to Criminal Minded, KRS-One is talking about violence against drug dealers. And rappers are starting to talk about, at one point, selling drugs. Now, in rap, they glorify abusing drugs. Was not like that in the beginning. Now, here's one of my favorites. This is Ultimate 3. This is from 1984. So now you got from 1979 to 84, you got consciousness all through our rap music. You got socially relevant lyrics and political awareness. And this is part of the culture. This is what they're not telling us. They want you to think that rap is a negative. If you're 15 now and you never heard any of this before, you would think all rap music is what is being played on the radio now. It was not. This is one of my favorites. This is What Are We Gonna Do by the Ultimate 3, 1984.
We gonna do on top of getting so bad that 12-year-old kids are getting robbed and stabbed. Let me tell you one thing, I think it's a pity. in New York City. Sometimes I act like I just don't care. But in 2 years, I have gray hair. But what can I say about this world today? Want someone drop a bomb and just blow it away. Cause every time I go out of the street, I gotta worry about the new shoes on my feet. May sound real dumb, don't wanna buy a gun, but times are getting so bad, I'm gonna have to get one. So what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? Tell me, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do about it? What you gonna do if a girl turns you down and she's with another guy on the other side of town? Will you be upset or will you regret that wonderful day that you had never lived? A guy like me had your choice to say hallelujah, praise the Lord, and start to rejoice. Cause there's many other ladies out there in the world. So go and get yourself another fly girl. Don't lose hope and don't be a quitter. That will only make your life turn bitter. Together you should share. If she's not there to make my point clear, why should you even care? Be on the run to find a brand new spark to bring light to you when it seems to be dark. Cause it's time to recruit and give the others a boost. And the key to the roof is the rap to shoot. So what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do about it?
I think we get the point. If you're paying attention, again, very socially relevant. It's telling us, look, we live in the ghetto in bad situation, but don't give up, don't quit. Like, keep pushing. Like, there's got to be a way for us to get out of this bad situation. Now, I want to address a few things that have been said in the chat. You have shout out to Big Country. Shout out to all the moderators in the chat. And why is my thing not working now? I'm freezing. Okay, so shout out to Samsung. He talks about Point Assistance routine that the Treacherous 3 did. Yes. Let me see. We had Lawrence W. Shout out to Antoine Alston. He said facts, so he's digging it. We had Lawrence W. in the chat talked about The Crown by Gary Bird. Now, brother Lawrence W., I'm glad you said that. That's giving me the next thought to do the origin of rap on record and talk about records like Gary Bird, The Crown, talk about Gil Scott-Heron, talk about the Watts Prophets, talk about a lot of these early poets that were doing this rhythmic talking to music that we almost don't count as being rap music or rap records, but it actually is. Lawrence W. says, some of these records I hadn't heard until now. Wow. So I'm glad that I could expose people to some of this history, because a lot of people don't know this sort of thing, which is why I'm doing this. I think this is very important. If we don't put the history in perspective, at the end of the historical day, rap music will just be this negative thing that Black people did once upon a time, and no one would really even give it a second thought. Now, this here is from Fearless 4, 1983. Still in 83, and everybody's still doing records that are socially relevant, talking about the kind of life they live in the inner cities of New York City, especially, and talking about the situation being bad. Now, this is an interesting record here because the Fearless 4, they go into not only political issues, but social issues. I definitely recommend everyone go back and listen to the whole record if you are not familiar with this. But this is the Fearless 4, Problems of the World Today. All right, so I just made the same mistake again. Technology just failed me, but I just figured it out. Now, here we go. We do that again.
I'm living just to die without any feeling, so I wait here for my maker till it's time to go. Ask someone about the time is slipping, can you spare a dime? Or ask him when will I earn it, I just don't know. I need someone to talk to try to ease some pressure off my mind, cause times are rough nowadays. Got a high school diploma and I'm very ambitious, so why, oh why do I live this way? These things called computers does the thinking for a man, leaving one man on the buttons while unemployed I can. Should have trained with computers in some college course, so when I play the game of life, just maybe I'd work with problems. Education, unemployment, incarcerated. Daddy, we had fun the weekend that just passed. Mommy's brother came to visit while you were away. I know why you looked puzzled. I was shocked myself. I didn't know I had an uncle until Friday. I was really glad I met him, but places mommy bet him, bought them She has no brother. I saw him myself, and we can go check with mother just to see what she'll say. Thought you would be glad to know I had an uncle. Didn't know you'll come home and be my mommy that way. Tree, child deceiving, got too many. She said that the milk, so she went to the store, leaving her son and her new love in the house that day. Never crossed the mind that something could go wrong. Thinking the man for your own and only joke and play. When she returned home, tears fled from her eyes as she witnessed the son laid out on the floor. The man stood above her with a black leather strap, and as she grabbed the butcher knife, she said, "Don't hit him anymore." The neighbors called the cops, and the boy survived. But that experience will always leave his mind in gloom. And if you want to be the man that would do such a thing, he lives rent free, locked in his rubber room. For mental child abusing, he got so many. He got to solve the problems of the world. I want to be somebody. Can you understand that? You see, I'm living two lives. I go to work and school. My friends say I'm crazy to try so hard instead of be with my girl. I must be some fool. If I quit from school, there goes an education which leaves me no pull. Am I to work? And if I walk from a job, can I afford a treat for myself or her? I may lose my girl after working there and reading the things there. See, I need to stay up is just to make love. It's just about to fall flat on my face. 10% I pray to the man above. Relationship, genuine, got too many. Of the world today.
Okay, I'm gonna stop that there because again, I could keep going, and I definitely am enjoying the music. And I see there are a lot of people in the chat also that are enjoying the music. So shout out to Def Rocker who has joined us. Shout out to Rockin' Roger. Shout out to Love for Love. Love for Love said cornrows and hair beads. Who remembers cornrows and hair beads in the early 80s? Put a 9 in the chat if you remember cornrows and hair beads from the early 80s. That was the style back then. And I think it's interesting. If you watch Wild Style, which was filmed in early 80s, so it's 82, 83, people are still rocking afros, pro cats. It looks very 1970s. I think that's very dope. It kind of just takes me back to another time, but I'm not done. Again, there were a lot of lesser known rap records that were talking about socially relevant content and talking about political content. This is before we even have an expression called conscious rap. Indie records, major labels, everybody's putting out these, what they call then message rap records that talked about, the reality of our life in the city. This is Rockmaster Scott and the Dynamic 3, It's Life.
Times are rough in this world today. That's why we are here to say people start to go change, not using their brains, not only outside but also on the train. Yeah, but even got people in this town who pickpocket, stick cocaine to be down. But then one day they gonna get caught, and that's the only way they gonna be taught.
Not really, don't you see? It's all in their heart. They even rob many people and they think it's smart. So they do it again because they live in their hell. Back they go in the same jail cell.
It's life. You got to think twice. It's life. You got to think twice. It's life. You got to think twice. Cash money is the talk of the town. That's why many people get shot down. Because it's hard being poor, so they rob any store just to get a little money and much, much more. It's like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Now if the world keep continuing, I might bug out. You can't even leave your doors open like years back because you don't know who might come and attack. They might take your jewelry or your TV set and part it in just to see how much they can get. Now if you thought like me, you would be alright. Because one thing I do is keep my door tight. It's life. You got to think twice.
Okay, that was Rockmaster Scott and the Dynamic 3, It's Life on Reality Records. I think that's interesting. The name of the label was Reality Records. Now, I got one more before I get off of here. And I could do this all day. Real talk. I could do this all day. But I'm just showing you that early rap was not this mess that we seeing now that just glorifies materialism and glorifies us harming and killing each other, which is the height of, it's just erroneous what's happening in rap right now. And if I don't put this history in perspective, a lot of people would be inclined to think that this is just what rap music is and it's always been this way. And it has not always been this way. And I'm giving you definitive proof now. Here we go. This is Run DMC. They became the biggest thing in rap music, breaking many glass ceilings in rap on all different levels. They were like one of the first rappers to be played heavily on commercial radio. They were the first rap group to appear on the cover of Rolling Stone. They were the first rap group to be on American Bandstand. They were probably the first rap group to be played on MTV in the early 80s. They didn't want to play rap music. Again, remember what they call message rap, conscious rap. This was such the thing to do that it became a way to make a quick hit record. Run DMC's very first single was called It's Like That. This is a conscious rap record. We're not using the word conscious yet, but and now in retrospect, we say conscious rap. This, by today's definition, is basically a conscious rap record, or what they call back then message rap. Even Run DMC got in on the act and put out It's Like That.
Want to die. Don't ask me because I don't know why, but it's like that, and that's the way it is. People in the world come to make it beat. You travel by car, train, bus, or feet. I said you got to work hard. You want to compete. It's like that, and that's the way it is. Huh. Money is the key to end all your woes. Your ups, your downs, your highs, and your lows. Won't you tell me last time that love bought your clothes? It's like that, and that's the way it is. Bills rise higher every day. We receive much lower pay. I'd rather stay young, go out and play. It's like that, and that's the way it is. Huh. Wars going on across the sea. Street soldiers killing the elderly. Whatever happened to unity? It's like that, and that's the way it is. Disillusion is the word that used by me when I'm not heard. I just go through life with my glasses blurred. It's like that, and that's the way it is. Huh.
Okay, I think we get the point there. Run DMC is like that. That's the way it is. This is their first single. This group became the biggest thing in the history of recorded rap music. And their first record was what we would today call a conscious rap record. I think we don't want to lose sight of that. Either way, I'm having a great time, but I am at the end of my hour. So I want to thank everyone that joined us in the chat. Salute to everyone that learned something new. Salute to everyone that was able to reminisce off of some things that are old. I think it's interesting. I'm talking about consciousness in rap music. I have yet to mention Public Enemy. I have yet to mention X-Clan. I have yet to mention Poor Righteous Teachers. I have yet to mention the Jungle Brothers. I have yet to mention Lakim Shabazz. I have yet to mention Rakim. I have yet to mention King Son. This subject is very it's a very wide subject, and I'm gonna continue. As you can see, this is History of Conscious Rap Part 1. I'm gonna do a Part 2, and in the future, I'm going to maybe even bring on some guests. And somebody in the chat, Anton Austin is saying he's already waiting for Part 2. I got you. I'm gonna definitely do the Part 2, but to bring it up to date, I think it's interesting to note that consciousness in rap music is not something that just occurred in the past. Yes, Lawrence W., thank you for saying that. I want everyone that's watching this now, if you could share this on social media and like the video and spread this, it will do a lot to push the narrative forward and advance the culture. And maybe some of these newer rappers would understand that they too can do some conscious rap music or message rap music or socially relevant rap music. It is okay to do so. I think they need to see some of these examples. If they don't, then they might not know that such a thing exists. So again, I want to thank everyone in the chat, everyone that's bigging me up right now. Again, like the video, share the video on social media. Let's continue to spread the word. I'm going to go out on this right here. This is Samson and DJ Tiger, Bad Times. This is helping to promote the campaign that has been launched against Netflix. Brand new music. So that consciousness is still in the music. It hasn't gone anywhere. The problem is white-owned black music stations will never play the revolutionary music that's talking about pushing back against something like a white-owned corporation, or they would never play music that promotes this concept of racial pride, and that's very deliberate. We're gonna go out on Samson and DJ Tiger, Bad Times. Again, shout out to the F.A.C.T family in the chat. I appreciate everybody. Remember to like and share the video. Peace.
Jimmy Walker came to them and he presented a cartoon about 5 years before this. When the trailer came out, we saw it and everybody was like, no.
Netflix, yeah, you ought to be ashamed. Renata Shepherd, yeah, you ought to be ashamed. Shame. When the original aired, not many look like me on the screen. Black faces far few in between. A black family where the father was rare. Matter of fact, this was the first time Hollywood dared to have a head of the household married with 3 kids. A cinematic accomplishment apart from where they would live. There was Shane, Florida, JJ, Thelma, and Mike. JJ got real popular saying Dynamite! In a heartwarming, hilarious sitcom with a father doing his best and a mother trying to clean up the mess. The oldest son was a struggling artist battling many hardships in the midst of making us laugh. Not an easy task. Tell only sister saw education at value. The younger brother was a militant little pharaoh. How can you do a reboot for this? If it ain't right, everybody gonna be pissed. Not bad, meaning bad, but bad, meaning good. Not bad, meaning bad, but bad, meaning good. Not bad, meaning bad. Not bad, meaning bad. Not bad, meaning bad, but bad, meaning good.
There are 2 roads out of the ghetto. So far, we have managed to stay on the right road.
Word. New cast members are rats and roaches, baby selling crack. Executives hoping that we didn't notice. Yep. Belligerent, bogus, totally unacceptable. Part even individual arts less than exceptional. Left the projects 50 years ago. 50 years later, they back in the same building that ain't there no more. Was in Florida, moving next to Walona, and Thelma's husband got a new contract. Show me where they at. Who wanna see this taking 20 step back mentality? In the projects crammed with food stamps and agony. They got an ulterior motive to paint our people as hopeless. The only brothers they wanna see get supported is Jonas. We're tired of the aroma you can smell in the slum. For it to be continued to what was originally done. Not bad, meaning bad, but bad, meaning good. Not bad, meaning bad, but bad, meaning good. Not bad, meaning bad. Not bad, meaning bad, but bad, meaning good. Due to the vision, our people made a petition to get this nonsense removed from the boot tube. Nah, it ain't cool. How can it even be called a reboot? With ethics in the original, but undercurrent subliminal messages in the new one, along with blunt ignorance. Let's band together, get it removed, do our due diligence. Hold the creators accountable for the content. In 2024, we won't accept this nonsense. As the roll is rolling over in her grave, thinking how was this ratchet animated series ever made?
This is given by the white people, made up by white people. Black community is different. It has a different language and culture altogether.
If you don't talk like we talk, see it like we see it, stop telling our story incorrectly up on the screen. Meaning bad, but bad, meaning good. Not bad, meaning bad, but bad, meaning good. Not bad, meaning good.
There's so much stuff being offered on television. You got 500 channels with nothing on most of them. You know, repetition of the same old thing, replications of shows that have been successful. That's become the norm. If a show succeeds with one knucklehead, then let's do a show with 5 knuckleheads. It doesn't work.